Greetings, my name is TheAdipose from Team Europe, and I want to talk to you today about getting the most out of your Minimap, Part 1. The Minimap is probably, well, it is one of the most vital tools you have, right up there with a good gun, good accuracy, good movement, good squad, good grouping, all that kind of stuff. A Minimap is a lifesaver and a life ender if you happen to be the opposition, but only if you use it correctly. And over this series I'm going to be talking to you about how to get the most out of it and how to really rack up those kills and get those checkpoints. But we need to set it up properly first, because for many people the map is just that little blue thing in the corner that they don't really pay much attention to, and we need to change that right now by getting the minimap in the right place with the right settings. So this video is going to be looking at getting your map set up properly. The resolution revolution. Battlefield 3 is a little bit weird in that the resolution that you set your monitor to, and obviously I'm talking directly to the PC gamers here, the resolution that you set your monitor to has a direct effect on the size of the minimap. Now I'm playing here on 1600 by 900 and the map is already pretty small in the corner. If I'm looking at the center of my screen down the sights, the map is pretty far away. However, if I was to change my resolution to 1280 by 720, so almost playing at kind of half high definition, the map actually gets significantly larger. It's not big, but of course it's a mini-map, it doesn't need to be big, but you should have noted there that the map has got larger. And if I make a direct comparison to a screenshot from the console version of the game, this is one from the PlayStation 3, the size is the same. So effectively what the size of the game, the size of the minimap is supposed to be is a half HD resolution. But most PC gamers, including myself, actually play at higher resolutions. So I normally play at 1920 by 1080, which is what this is. And hopefully you've seen in the screen, whoa, that minimap has just shrunk in size, and it's actually pretty minute. You almost have to squint at it to get some of the details. Now the problem I was having in Battlefield was the map was just so small and so far away from my eyes that I just wasn't using it, and I was missing out on a huge amount of valuable information. Now what we can't do is make the map bigger on a smaller resolution, but what we can do is move the minimap so it is closer to our eye line, which is what I have done, and I found it's helped my gameplay a lot. Now I'm not suggesting recommending that you necessarily do what I've done or follow my settings, but what I am saying is try it out and see if it improves. Go to My Documents, Battlefield 3, Settings, and open the Profile document there. It'll probably ask you what you want to open it in, and you want to open it in WordPad, not Notepad but WordPad, and don't say always open as this type of file or anything like that. And we're looking for two lines which we're going to change the settings of. We're kind of changing some of the settings of Battlefield behind the scenes here. Don't fiddle with this file, and I would strongly recommend you make a backup first, in fact, just in case you make a mistake. Do Control F, which is find, and look for the word safe, and you'll find these two lines here. And these lines directly control the horizontal position and the vertical position of your minimap. You'll probably find that they're either set to kind of 1 or 9.5 or 9.9, and we're going to adjust these. Now, if I was to adjust to change one of them, and you can change either of them to any number you want, and you can then run the game to see how it looks. I can move it either just along the bottom, so it's kind of closer to the middle at the bottom, or I could even move it closer to the middle at the side if I adjust it back just on the vertical. But what I have decided to do is actually move my minimap far closer to the center of my screen by putting 0.6, 0.6 in both of those lines, and then pressing save. I have mine far closer to the middle of the screen than anyone else that I know, so if my minimap looks silly to you, then don't do it. But I have seen a lot of other players that have it closer to the middle. But no, not only does it bring the map in, it also brings the ammo and the ribbons and the chat closer to the middle as well. So it might possibly obstruct your view if you bring it in as close as I have. However, I think that it is worth it. The sacrifice of a little bit of display for all the vital information that the minimap minimap gives, I think is worth it. But have an experiment, change those numbers in that file, maybe 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and just move it around until it's in a position where you can see it without really moving your eyes too far. You don't want to have to kind of like turn your head or really kind of think, oh, I'd better look at the minimap now. It should be something that you can see on in your peripheral vision, and when those red dots appear, you're glancing at it and you're seeing it without really thinking about it. Because if you are having to think about it and you aren't using it, you're going to lose, quite frankly, because it's such a vital tool. Of course, this may all depend on what system you are playing on, or to be more precise, the monitor. I have a large monitor, 24 inches, and I sit fairly close to it because I'm on a desktop. Therefore, it actually the minimap is physically quite far away from the centre of my screen. If you play on a laptop or a small monitor, maybe this isn't such a big issue, and you can leave the minimap where it is, or just bring it in just a little tiny bit. You need to kind of have a think about, or have a look at what your situation is, what your monitor is like, and think about whether you need to make these changes. But if you don't use the minimap because it's too far away, make them. So after you've got your map in the right position for you, there are some other settings that we can look at as well. We've gone to options and then gameplay. You've got two options that directly affect the minimap. You've got minimap type and minimap opacity. We're just going to have a quick look at what these different ones mean, and then you need to think about what one is going to work best for you. This one is the satellite view, which basically shows you the textures of the map. You can see where kind of the ground goes dark, where the ground goes light. You can see the buildings by the kind of the shape that they are. It's kind of a gritty, realistic satellite map. If you're kind of very much into your kind of military maps or your satellite pictures, then this is the one for you. It's pretty clear, and you can see not only just the objects, but also kind of like holes in the ground and divots, which is good with all the shading that appears there. It's a useful map. Alternatively, if you flip it on to just map rather than satellite, you get the complete opposite. No texture at all, no kind of like holes and rises and things like that, but instead just the objects and the floor, which is shown by the light blue and the dark blue. So you'll see where an object begins and an object finishes, but no more kind of detail than that. This is a very, very, very simple map. Or, alternatively, you can actually, there's a mode which puts these two ideas together, the texture of the satellite view and the simplicity of the map view, and they've called it hybrid. So again, back to the same option, gameplay, change it to hybrid, and you'll see what we've got here. Gives you a little bit of texture with the clarity of the building and the ground. For what it's worth, I have mine set to map. I like to be able to look at the map as quickly as possible, glance at it, and I find the simplicity of the map version means that I can make the call of where the enemy is and work out his location as quickly as possible. Option number 2 in the gameplay menu of your Battlefield was the minimap opacity, which does, as you might expect, it affects how translucent or transparent the minimap is. Here it's set to full, and as you can see, the minimap is completely solid, which makes it very easy to read. It's very, very clear, but of course I've got a big stinking block on my screen that I can't see through at all. If your minimap, you're going to leave yours in the corner or at the bottom of the screen, you might consider leaving this setting set to absolutely full opacity, but we can pull it down, which is this bottom option here, and if I pull it down to about half, you can see it doesn't actually make the minimap completely transparent, and even if I pull it down all the way, it's not like it's 99% transparent. You're looking at about 50% transparency at the maximum, but it set to this setting, you can just about make out those textures through the minimap, those bars of the window there, which you would see a man running through those just about while still retaining some clarity in the map. And even if I pull the transparency all the way down to the bottom, you can see that map is still very visible, but so are the objects through it. You will see people running through there. You will be able to kind of see where doors are and such things like that. What I've done is I've decided to go for the map option along with a very low transparency. That means because I wasn't really able to make out the textures with a high transparency anyway, and I wanted the map view because I felt it was the clearest. One of the reasons for this, of course, is that I have my map very close to the center of the screen, and I want to be able to see the enemy if he is close to me. So have a think about where you're going to put your map, and then think about, well, what details would you like on the map, and then how transparent does it need to be. But the main goal, of course, is you need to be able to use it and see it properly. M and N's. You actually have two more options for your minimap which relate to the keys on your keyboard. By default set to M and N. The first one, by default set to M, changes the zoom of the minimap, and as I cycle through, pressing the M key repeatedly, you'll see that the map pulls out further and further and further, which lets me see more and more of the battlefield. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to each one, of course. The closer I am in, the more I'm likely to be able to work out exactly where different objects and people are. The further I am out, the more of the battlefield I can see quickly to make advanced strategic decisions. I know some people that have it zoomed out all the way, some people that have it on the middle, but I personally keep mine on zoomed in as far as possible. And the reason for this is, as you can see, as I run kind of closer towards where the action is, all the checkpoints, the flags, and the death signals on the map, and the little blue markers for friendlies and the red markers for enemies, they're all kind of squishing together. They're all kind of overlapping each other, which is making the mini-map, to be blunt, a bit of a mess. So much so that I didn't even spot that guy coming and was concentrating on the map more than the person in front of me. But I feel that the minimap needs to be something that you can use quickly and easily, and when you shrink it down, especially on a high resolution with such a small map, it just isn't useful when it is that small. And for that reason, as I sneak up on these two little gentlemen here, I think you need to have this on the smallest zoom so you can clearly and accurately work out from the map, oh, they're in that building right there and he's looking in this direction, without being kind of cluttered up by lots of things from 200 or 300 meters away. You just want to focus on the immediate area that you are in. Now you have another option as well with the other key, which is map size. If you press the map size button, the map will blow up and take up about a quarter of your screen. It will also give you more view of the battlefield, so you'll be able to look onto the other side of your of what's going on. I think this one is really, really important, and so important I've actually remapped mine to be under my fingers. Mine is my Alt key because I use a voice-activated push-to-talk, and I use this one all the time just to flick it up and flick it down to see a little bit further down the road. So for example, in a minute you'll see that there's a car coming down this road. I can't see it on my mini-map, but I can see it if I quickly tweak it out to the full length view. I wouldn't run around with the full view open, but I can quickly tap it from time to time just when I want to get a little bit more information about what's going on the battlefield. So you need to get your mini-map set up properly. And I've got loads more tips and guides for you on how to actually use this to get some kills and to win on the battlefield. But before we get to all those bits and bobs, you need to make sure that your minimap is ready. I want you to get it in the right place for you. I want you to choose your favourite map style that helps you understand it. I want you to choose a transparency that means you can see what's going on in front of you but also see the map. I want you to I would strongly recommend that you get the map size button underneath your hand so you can use it quickly and get yourself ready, because we're going to be doing a lot more with the minimap in part 2. Come visit us on the Team Europe website if you would like. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and all comments and feedback are appreciated. See you soon.